Welcome, everyone, to the March edition of the Michigan Trails Report. I'm your host, Tom Funk. And as always, if you're new or just forgot, I am the author of 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and 50 Hikes on the North Country Trail. And you'll see me post stuff on your various Facebook groups. Once a month, we talk about the current status of Michigan trails, trail magic, hiker trash, even give you a heads up on trail conditions and the status of the various reservation systems like recreation.gov. The rest of the month, I typically post a chapter from one of my books, give you a travel narrative, tell you about a famous outdoors person, or maybe a forgotten trail. So hey, check out the table of contents. Let's see all the content. Our sponsor, the Hiker Hostel in Germfast. The hostel will have a soft opening in the summer of 2025. And it is catering to outdoor enthusiasts like North Country Trail backpackers. Subscribe to their Facebook page, Hiker Hostel and Retreat Germfast, for updates. And as always, thank you to my friend Adam for providing today's bumper music. Adam is a musician in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And with that, Trail of the Month. Time to venture to another state park for our Trail of the Month. And we're going to go down to the extreme southwest corner of the Lower Peninsula to one of my favorite places to explore as a young man. And that is the Grand Mere State Park. And this is a 1,100 acre park. It's mostly wooded, has three basically inland lakes that were once kettle lakes, and they've were created by the glaciers, and since then they have kind of filled in with vegetation and such. So it is turned into this wildlife haven for migrating wildlife. And these lakes are disappearing slowly over time. I guess there used to be 5 lakes there. Now they're just down to 3. It also has dunes protecting the park. And this creates a relatively cool environment that supports plants not normally seen in southern Michigan. So if you're a plant lover, a botanist, if you would be one, bring your plant books with you, because you may find some rare, threatened, or endangered species. So there's almost 2 miles of sandy beach, which can be reached only by foot by climbing up and over a sand dune. And these are active dunes, so be prepared for loose sand. There are many trails for hiking and cross-country skiing, but none of them are posted nor maintained, so keep that in mind. Also, no bikes are allowed on the trails. So the trails are loose sand, hard-packed dirt, and everything in between. And you can access the trails either from the designated parking area or drive to the south end of the park where there's a small parking lot. Of course, a recreation passport is required. Bring a compass. And remember, it's Grand Mere State Park. John Beers Road exit by Stevensville is where you will hit the trail. And it's a wonderful place. Please check it out. All right, trail conditions, conflicts, and closures. I'm going to start talking more about some trail closures. I'll still leave the kind of North Country Trail stuff for later until the snow clears. But, hey, if you're planning a trip to a Michigan State Park, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you just might want to check out their closure page. So we are back to 49 closures up from 43 in February. And the most notable trail closure is a 12-mile-long section of the Muscatine Trail in Ottawa and Muskegon counties. It's closed throughout 2025 for a reconstruction project, including 2 trailheads in Marne and Conklin. So it began in January, and they're thinking it will be done by spring of next year, 2026. We have portions of the Potawatomi Trail undergoing construction in 2025. You may have heard in a previous podcast, I mentioned the Tahquamenon Falls State Park. At Upper Falls, they are rebuilding their viewing areas and staircases, and it is all open. The park is open, but you can't take the stairs all the way down to the overlook. So those should be done by August of this year. And it's going to have a 900-foot-long boardwalk that winds through the old growth forest and it'll get you down to get you so you can see some stunning views of the falls and river. And most importantly, the pub, the Tequila Falls Brewery, will remain open during construction. Full state park closures include, oh my goodness, Sheboygan State Park's modern campground closed for 2025. Other entire campgrounds closed for 2025 include Clear Lake State Park, Heft, Ionia State Recreation Area, Sleepy Hollow. Oh no, not Sleepy Hollow. Oh man. Anyways, Traverse City is another one, and Twin Lakes. An entire park closure is taking place. Tawas Point State Park is going to be closed March 24th through the 31st. And boy, that's going to put the bird watchers into a tizzy because that is prime migration season. So please keep that in mind. And the campground will remain closed through May 31st as well. And the Eddy Geological Center at Waterloo State Recreation Area is closed through July. So snowshoe on over to their website, michigan.gov/DNR, about newsroom/closures. Snow report. Hey, if you're not familiar yet, you got to check out this website. It's called the National Operational Hydrologic Remote Sensing Center. So if you go on the Facebook page, you see where I post snow depth maps. That's where I'm getting this from. And you can see in real time snow depth down to a granular level. Thing is, it's a government website, and it's kind of clunky to use, so, I create a tutorial, which you can see on my YouTube page. So, currently, the northern parts of the UP have some amount of snow, and about the only deep snow is around the Munising, Germfast, and Grand Marais area, along with the Huron and Porcupine Mountains. In fact, if you draw a line from about Iron Mountain to Escanaba, there's no snow south of that line. So you got really deep snow to next to nothing in the UP. In the Lower Peninsula, measurable snow is north of a line between Muskegon and Bay City, with the deepest around Gaylord. So plenty of winter left if the temps stay low and we get some more snow. More on that later. All right, so it has been a while since I introduced a new segment to the podcast, and let's call this one Tom's Hot Take, which isn't meant to piss you off, but maybe causes you to think. So here it goes. We've all heard in the news how the current administration at the White House is taking a chainsaw to the federal government, workforce, spending, grants, and so on. And I'll bet there is one federal program that is near and dear to your heart. Mine, well, it's the national parks, specifically the North Country Trail. The North Country Trail is a national park and has national park staff charged with various administrative functions. It also has a nonprofit organization that supports the trail with volunteerism, training, maps, events, and of course, building the trail. Now keep in mind, the trail itself on the ground is not quote-unquote owned by the National Park Service. It has countless owners, from private individuals to municipalities to state and national forests and state and national parks. The National Park Service and the North Country Trail Administration, they administer, they develop, and promote the trail in unison and in cooperation with each other. In order to do so, obviously it needs staff and supplies and an office, internet, all the things that businesses need. And all these things cost money. My take is this. We are living in a period of uncertainty. And instead of bemoaning all these budget cuts, it may be helpful to come to terms that the North Country Trail Association and the North Country Trail unit of the NPS may lose all its federal funding. The North Country Trail Association, as I looked at their 2024 financial report, they reported accepting over $800,000 of government grants towards its $1.8 million budget. So, wow, that's about half its budget. And if this was to suddenly dry up, the North Country Trail Association would cease to exist, right? Well, not so fast. So I went over to the North Country Trail Community Facebook page, where there are 34,000 members. And I'm confident that the vast majority of the people on that Facebook page are not dues-paying members of the North Country Trail Association. So think of this. If every person on that page gave $100 to the North Country Trail Association, that's $3.4 million. That's darn near 2 years worth of funding for the association. $100. If you all gave $25, that would cover the government grant shortfall. As for the National Park Service, their annual budget is just a tad over $3 billion a year. They receive 325 million user visits a year. Again, doing a little math, if each visitor gave $10 to the park every time they visited one, the National Park Service would have all the money it needs. So the solution comes down to simple math, willpower, and a change of mindset. So the sooner we move away from relying on the federal government paying all our bills, the sooner we can take control of our favorite places. And just look to the Michigan State Parks and their Recreational Passport Program. Their operational costs are paid for by the voluntary payment of this fee. The Michigan Natural Resources Fund is funded by oil and gas royalties that are collected off of state lands. And these funds typically go for new land purchases and capital improvements. Now, if our national parks use this model, we wouldn't be screaming at the top of our lungs out in the woods, now would we? What do you think? I'll post this hot take on Facebook and leave you directions on how to unfollow me if you don't like what I said. But hey, that's my hot take, and I am sticking with it. All right, hiker trash. We have North Country Trail 100 hikers already, and it's barely March. Chloe Bell Courtois, 100 miles, mostly on snowshoes, including the Jordan River Pathway. Randy Vedenich, he accomplished this task in Manistee with a nameless hiking partner. Yeah, there you go. Somebody wanted to remain anonymous, maybe. But hey, there's 3 there so far. And Sally W. from Michigan, she has a goal of 100 miles a month, and she has already accomplished that. So let's congratulate them. So a round of applause. All right. Congratulations, everyone. And as I see them posted, I will tell you about them here on the Michigan Trails Report. Okay, trail calendar. Twominout Falls State Park. Hey, did you go to the snowshoe hikes? I hope you did. Keep in mind that they're not grooming some of their cross-country ski trails around the area because of the boardwalk construction that's going on. So keep that in mind. On our North Country Trail, we have some events taking place. We have a hike on March 15th. It's going to be Johnson Road to Brewbreaker Road, starting at 9:30 a.m. There is going to... Oh, look at this one. Where is this one? They have a leprechaun guided hike in Pennsylvania. But hey, if you want to drive out there, check out the North Country Trail events page. We have also a Western Michigan Chapter March hike, starting at the M20 Trailhead. That is also on March 15th. We have, there's a Bigfoot hike. Boy, we're getting pretty creative on these hikes. That's in Wisconsin. Chief Noonday Chapter Spring Ephemeral Hike, which is going to go looking for flowers. This is a 7.5 mile out and back. And it's going to start at the M179 Trailhead. And that is also, it's going to be a couple weekends, March 16th. Let's see. Now, I always complain about this. There we go. It's working. Oh my gosh. Do you want to hear about a board meeting? I don't think so. And scrolling. A lot of stuff going on in other states. And let's see. Sparta Library, March 21st, calling all first-time backpackers. 1 of 3 sessions. Cool. 6 p.m. Sparta Library. And I think that may be it. Yes, it is for events. So check out the North Country Trail events page for events at chapters. Some group hikes taking place. West Michigan Hiking and Backpacking has a Dick Road area hike in the Eastern UP Saturday, March 8th. They also have on Saturday, March 15th, Petoskey Road, Johnson Road to Brewbreaker Road. That's probably the same one that I mentioned earlier, but it's also posted in West Michigan Hiking and Backpacking. Northern Michigan hiking and backpacking, Manistee River Trail Spring backpacking trip. Give me a little heads up notice on this one. This one's taking place in May, Saturday, May 3rd and 4th. And as always, go to these Facebook pages, check out the gory details. I'm just kind of hitting the highlights for you. Hope everyone had fun at the Quiet Adventures Symposium. Looked like another success. Thanks for sharing pictures with me, as I was not able to go again. Hopefully, maybe next year, but definitely the year after that, I'll be able to go. Canoecopia is going to be coming up this weekend, so if you want to go to Wisconsin, check out all the canoes and kayaks. They have a gob of presentations and seminars. It is definitely worth the drive. I've been many times, and it is a really cool event. So make sure to plan for that sometime if you can't go this year, in a future year. All right, reservation report brought to you by MichiganTrailMaps.com. High-quality maps of many of your favorite hiking trails, like pictured rocks, downloadable maps, and books on hiking in Michigan. Pictured Rocks, reservations for 2025 are open. And the reason why this podcast, if you've noticed, like, hey, Tom, your podcast came out a little later than usual, it's because I've been trying to get the reservation.gov site to work specifically for the Lakeshore Trail along Pictured Rocks. The doggone page won't open. It just sits there loading. I gave up. So, last I checked, there was still reservations left for Memorial Day weekend. But as always, get on there and check out what's going on. I was able to check out Hurricane, 12 Mile and Beaver. Most sites are taken. I'm only seeing single day availabilities. But keep in mind, they do have those booking windows 1 month and 2 weeks out. Grand Island, still gobs of reservations available. You can make them 6 months out. Sylvania, gobs of availability. Reservations can be made 6 months out. So 6 months out now, we're looking into after Independence Day. So that's good. We're getting most of the summer. You can make reservations now. State Park campgrounds, midnrreservations.com. 6 months in advance. We are full across the board at all the popular state parks. Memorial Day weekend. This is because there's a lot of parks that are fully closed for the campgrounds or have partial closures. I'm sure that's got a big reason to do with it. Backcountry camping sites. We have Porcupine Mountains. Memorial Day weekend is about half full. You may want to get on it. Craig Lake backcountry sites, still plenty of openings. However, Memorial Day weekend is actually more than half full. And I don't think that's happened before. So, looks like people are spilling over into Craig Lake. That's kind of cool. And Chiquamau Falls State Park backcountry sites. Seems like the Clark Lake site is quite popular in June and July. And, if you're going to go on Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day Saturday is the only day so far this season with all 3 campsites booked. So if you're planning on doing a through hike on the North Country Trail through Chiquamau Memorial Day weekend, you got kind of luck. You're going to have to use the modern campgrounds. Moving on to Isle Royal. The Isle Royal Ranger reservation system is up and running. Gobs availability. The Isle Royal Queen, it is up and running. IsleRoyal.com. I still have all dates that have space. However, there's a few dates that have 10 spots or less, so you may want to check out that calendar if you have plans to go. And Isle Royal Lodges, Rock Harbor is basically booked up for 2025. So there was a rumor going around that all transportation was closed for the season. That's definitely a rumor. You can still make reservations. So don't believe everything you read on the internet, folks. All right, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for normal March temperatures statewide and above normal precipitation. And the 7 to 14-day forecast is leaning towards above normal temps in the UP and above normal in the southern lower peninsula. They're expecting above normal precipitation, especially in the northeast lower peninsula. So looks like slow warm up and some probably rain's going to knock back some of that snow, although looks like the UP is going to be getting some snow here shortly. So, the weather's still kind of holding up, and spring is right around the corner. If I'm seeing notes about looking for spring ephemerals. So that's a good sign that people are going to go on a hike looking for wildflowers. All right, so there you go. Thanks to our sponsor, Hiker Hostel and Retreat, GermFast. And thanks to everyone who purchased the book in the past year. The royalty checks keep rolling in, and they go straight towards my son's college fund. So thank you very much for that. And a quote at the end of the show: the best way to predict the future is to create it. Peter Druck. Get out there and hike, folks. What's the worst thing that could happen? And make sure to follow us, TomFunk.net. And subscribe. If you don't subscribe to the podcast, I'm going to find your Nalgene bottles and poke holes in the bottoms of them. Thanks for joining us on the Michigan Trails Report. We will see you next month with another report. Please stay tuned and check out all the content as we continue to roll stuff out. Thanks, guys. See you next time.